All right, welcome. This is going to provide the next site manager for You Can Volunteer with a basic overview of some of the most important things to know about being a site manager. This is the homepage for the Galaxy Digital You Can Volunteer website, and this is what volunteers see when they come to the site. Now, to get into the site manager's place, what you're going to do, click the login button, put in your email and your password, and up at the top, there are the options. This is where you would find information if you were a volunteer. For your agency or agencies, this is where you click on that, and then for the site manager, you click that manager button. And what we're going to first look at is this settings drop-down menu. The main settings and user registration were set up back in late 2018, 2017 when we got this thing. So those should be fine. Interests and causes, those might need to be changed, especially there is one interest that deals with Day of Caring. You might have to switch that to Season of Caring. There are some proposed new interests and causes on Chris's desk, on my desk at the office. So you can take a look at those. And then spotlights, rotator images, we will come back to those in a little bit. But anyway, the first thing I wanted to do is looking at volunteerism. This is going to be your bread and butter. This is where you'd be most of the time. And the first thing I wanted to point out was if you are day-to-day kind of looking at who's using the site, you want to come to this responses page because this gives you a sense of who has recently inquired about a volunteer opportunity. So the most recent one was on June 9th. Today is the 12th, so this person inquired a couple days back. I do have an email template in the Galaxy Digital Site Manager's guide for the email that I would send to potential volunteers to check in a couple days later to see if the agency had reached out to them. So here's the list of agencies that are currently in You Can Volunteer. A couple basics that I've discussed in in agency manager training, but logos, they're all up to date. You have your agency managers. You can have multiple agency managers. The only difference between being the primary agency and a secondary agency manager is that the primary is able to add or remove secondary agency managers. So if, for example, Pam McCarroll wanted to add me as a secondary agency manager, she could do that and then eliminate my position. And the only way to change, or the easiest way to change someone from a secondary to primary is you just click, there's a little star button. For all secondary, that star is not filled in. For the primary, it is. Most of this is self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go through it. But we do have all of our agencies. Their Who We Are section is just their mission and vision statement. And what we do is a very basic overview of the tasks and responsibilities they have in Yellowstone County. So let's take a look at opportunities. Here are the opportunities. We currently have 175 active opportunities. There are a number of inactive ones, for example, for the holidays that are inactive at this point, and when it gets close to the holidays, you as the site manager or you as the site manager can either reopen those opportunities or remind agencies to update them. Let's add a new opportunity. When you open this as a site manager, it's going to look different if you're an agency manager, but as a site manager, if you're creating an opportunity, you want to put it into active. If you don't want to activate it yet, and in fact, I'll do this for a purpose I'll show in a minute, but so test volunteer opportunity, test. Public and private, you're going to want to look into this because if you get to a point in Season of Caring where you want to create a volunteer opportunity that can only be viewed by certain groups, for example, certain campaign companies. What you would do is make this a private volunteer opportunity, tie it to an initiative if you want to lump all those opportunities together. And anybody who comes to this site will be able to see the title of the opportunity, but there will be a little lock icon next to it, and the average person won't be able to see what the opportunity is about. Whereas the people that you assign, that you send the link to, for example, they'll be able to see what it is. But in this case, we'll keep this public. Agency, we'll make this the Volunteer Center of United Way. The initiative, we'll come back to the initiatives, but I'm just going to make this ongoing. Note that there's a whole bunch of differences. You can have a runs until, so if there's an event, there's a happens on. A runs until would be best for, say, a collection drive. Happens on would be good for an event. Multi-date might be good for, let's just say, a holiday volunteer opportunity that's happening on every Saturday. Custom shifts and reoccurring shifts, again, those are great for a volunteer opportunity where the agency needs a large number of people at varying times. Hours, note that this is required. There's a star next to it, as is duration, but you put in the hours. If there isn't a set hour that you know of, you can put varies. It just defaults to 0 though. Hours description. Teams, you're going to want to look into Teams again if you get to a Season of Caring thing and you want to use the Galaxy Digital platform for that. Plenty of information about teams, user groups, initiatives, all that kind of stuff in the Galaxy Digital tutorials, and I have lots of information for that in that guide. Minimum, maximum age, family friendly, all that. The attributes section, if you recall, what's cool about this is it allows you to just type something in and it appears as a series of checkboxes along with, is it family friendly? If you put it yes, it would have a little check that says family friendly. So the attributes can kind of be nice for reinforcing things. Then you've got the address, and if it's something that's going to be held throughout the city of Billings, throughout Yellowstone County, the only thing that's required for the address is the zip, you'll notice. So you have to at least put in the zip. So usually if I don't know where the location is, or if it's multi-locations, I just put in 59101 or 59105 or whatever. Interests, this is what I was talking about with Season of Caring. Right now we do have a Day of Caring interest. And again, somebody who takes this on can look at potential interests. These are all tied to volunteer opportunities, whereas the causes are tied to the agencies. But, oh yeah, you do need to select one. And you notice that's the primary. You can select a whole bunch of them, but the primary one along with its icon is going to be the one that shows up for volunteers to see. And then you're going to create the opportunity. Ooh, I knew I'd forget something. Forgot multiple things. All right, so this is what I wanted you to see, because when you as the agency or the site manager come and check the Galaxy Digital site, which I would do on a daily basis, or sometimes several times a day. In this case, you see that Opportunities now has a 1 next to it, and that is an opportunity that is waiting for review. So what you're going to do is, all that you would do is just move it to active if you approve it. You can move it to inactive if you don't approve it, or you can go down to the bottom. And I do want to note, for opportunities, for example, I've made opportunity posts for Operation Supply in the past. To update all that information, I can just clone the opportunity. But in this case, I'm going to deactivate it so that it is deleted. And this is actually from a previous post that I was working on, so let's get rid of that too. So these are opportunities, and we'll move on to some other stuff in the next video.